I hope we hear each other very well. Good morning to all of you. Good day. I'm so happy to see you in such high numbers and in quite good mood, which means that we are not meteoropats and that we don't have a problem with this rain. And I'm so happy that you have managed to find the time in your quite tight schedules to mark a quite significant date, because there is nothing more better than celebrating the achievements.
So if you are colleagues from Brussels, hi to you. I hope you hear everything okay. Also everyone who are here in live with us. Thank you. Neću nastavljati na engleskom jeziku.
I'm not going to continue in English because today we have two interpreters who will help us, assist us during the program. I will try to be fluent and clear so that they can interpret and to manage to finish everything that is planned for today's tight schedule and to get to know what exactly has been achieved in the last few years. So you know why you are here today, because this is the conference about the presentation of the Norwegian, about the implementation of financial mechanism, Norwegian financial mechanism 2014-2021. Some of the projects have been completed, some of the projects are in the implementation, and we would be really glad to hear the achievements, stage of the project. So to cut myself short, first of all, let me greet our guest, State Secretary Ms. Vedrana Šimunđa-Nikolić. Please give her a warm welcome. Arne-san Bjørnstad, the ambassador of Kingdom of Norway in Zagreb. Leif Trana, chair of the Financial Mechanism Committee. And also we have Mr. Domagoj Mikulić, State Secretary at the Ministry of Regional Development and EU Funds. And I think we don't have Mr. Vukic, the mayor of the city of Zadar. He is not with us, but we have representatives of the city administration of Zadar. Thanks once again to all of you, to all the media who decided to accompany us during this event. So what is the objective of financial mechanisms or these projects? But you know it. The objective of these programs is to contribute to the reduction of economic and social disparities in European economic area, and on the other hand, they extremely strengthen bilateral relations between Norway and the donor countries. In this case, these are Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein. There has been 5 years since this agreement was concluded, and we established which areas would be financed or which programs will be financed by the available fundings through my financial mechanism. So what happened after it? This is the process that is quite a complex process, especially for us who watch it by side. This all looks very simple, but it is not once you're inside. So the financial mechanisms that are available, or those financial funds available, need to be allocated. After that, the programs are elaborated into very detailed program agreements, and then we have published calls for proposals to see the applicants and how the program can start with implementation. There were many challenges during this process. We will hear about those challenges today. The point of this gathering is to present everything that has been achieved in the last few years, and the project managers were the representatives of Croatian institutions, and also we would like to hear another side of the story. We would like to hear from the project leaders, from the organizations that implemented the projects. The achievements are always of use, whether locally, whether globally viewed, and this is what is crucial in all this context. The more detailed info about the program we will hear during this morning, and we will have a panel discussion, not of a classic type, but a kind of like a panel discussion, which will make it possible for for us to learn about the very many details. All those programs are very complex, so in this short time it is impossible to enter into much detail. So I would like to start and to open the story of today, to have the introductory speeches so that you can meet our panelists of today. Ms. Vedrana Šimunđa-Nikolić, State Secretary of the Ministry of Judiciary. She would come and she would open this story today. Please give her a warm and encouraging applause to Ms. Vedrana Šimunđa-Nikolić. Thank you, our dear moderator. First of all, dear and esteemed all present participants, Mr. Ambassador of the Kingdom of Norway in the Republic of Croatia, Mr. Bjørstad, Mr. Chairman of the FMC, Mr. Trana, Mr. State Secretary, Mr. County Prefects that I've noticed, all participants, all panelists that will speak later, and of course all the present. Dear ladies and gentlemen, it is with extreme honor that to welcome you in this conference on behalf of the Ministry of Judiciary, on the Minister of Mr. Ivan Malenica, and on my personal behalf. First of all, as we have heard, it is very nice to talk about the achievements, and in this conference we would like to present previous achievements within a framework of the implementation of the Norwegian financial mechanism of 2014-2021 and the mechanism of European economic states. So these mechanisms considerably contribute to the reduction of economic and social disparities and strengthen bilateral relations between our countries. By the support of the Norway Court Administration Council of Europe, Ministry of Judiciary is currently implementing a program Judiciary and Internal Affairs. Thanks to our partnership and the grant fund of the Kingdom of Norway, we have made a huge and considerable steps. We improved electronic services in Croatian judiciary. We increased competences of judges and expertise and skills of judges, but this all strengthens the protection of human rights, the protection of public security through realization of the projects, and in particular the enhancement of our probation service. We would like to point out the reconstruction of the building of the municipal court in Split, which is the highest achievement of this project. This building, this object, this structure will contribute hugely to the better judicial protection of the citizens, in particular for the most vulnerable groups in our society. I am convinced that by the end of this year, the realization of this extremely important investment, I myself am a judge, and I worked at the municipal court, at the county court actually, in Split, and it is with great pleasure, and I extremely am grateful, and I appreciate, and the ministry and the Croatia, you did a huge thing for us, because the court in Split is a big court. It has quite a wide jurisdiction, and we cover a wide space. So the space, the premises that we worked until now and that we still continue to work, this will contribute a lot, and psychologically and socially that we have a huge, big and modern space. So once again, thank you in particular for the building of the municipal court in Split. Modern judiciary cannot be imagined without fast and safe digital services. So enhancement of previous digital services. Digitalization is one of the priorities of the Ministry of Judiciary, because this digitalization and use of modern technologies actually speeds up court processes, because this is the objective of all of us, and this guarantees safety. Efficiency of judges cannot be separated from education and training and strengthening of skills and expertise of judges. So The rule of law is the basic principle of democratic societies, and it is required not only for the preservation of the human rights, but for the preservation of public security and safety. In Croatia, we have our probation service. It has been working for a decade, successfully working, and it's been identified even in the international scene. We strengthen and enhance the work of our probation service through this grant project. So we will have electronic surveillance for which is important for unburdening the prison system and which is important for strengthening of competencies of probation officers. We also have the program Roma Mentors, which has been identified as an example of good practice in international community for strengthening the rights of minorities. Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants of this conference, and in particular our esteemed partners, the financial mechanisms of European Economic Space and the Kingdom of Norway of the Ministry of Judiciary. They provide systematic assistance to Ministry of Judiciary and to Croatia to introduce changes into our judiciary system. So once again, on behalf of the Minister of Judiciary, on behalf of the Republic of Croatia and on my personal behalf, to thank you for your continued support in realization of these important projects, and thanks to this, the Croatian judiciary is going to become faster and more efficient. So once again, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Šimunđa Nikolić, for these introductory words. And of course, you know the good old saying, when we put our hands and heads together, everything can be different. So this will be confirmed by our next guest. This is the esteemed ambassador of the Kingdom of Norway, and I would like to ask Mr. Bjornstad to come and join us at the stage for a couple of words, introductory remarks. Please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you very much. State Secretaries, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor for me to be here, actually on one of my first days as ambassador to Croatia, to actually celebrate the results of the EEA and Norway Grants. I haven't seen very much of it, I have to say, because I just came, but I will learn much more today. This is a very special year for Croatia as well, because actually you joined the Eurozone, you joined the Schengen, you have the 10th anniversary of your membership in the EU, and of course, in a sense, you soon have the 10th anniversary of the EEA and Norway Grants as well. I'm not going to talk about numbers or money or anything, because it's just an instrument. It's actually instruments to improve the integration of Europe. And we really need this these very difficult times of war in Ukraine. To improve our cohesion, we need to reduce social differences, to protect our fundamental rights, and basically European values. And that's what EEA and Norway Grants are all about. We do this to actually supporting projects for improving good governance, including actually supporting civil society and social inclusion. We do this to assisting in the important green transition, which will protect our future, actually protecting the world against climate change, but also actually protecting the environment we live in. And of course, it protects jobs, because if our companies do not prepare themselves for what is coming, we will get big social problems. So actually support innovation, and green transition is one of the big challenges facing, where actually Norway and EEA grants will help. So basically, I'm not going to say very much, but it's, we have to save jobs. We have to actually protect the environment we live in, to improve our quality of life. And we have to do this together, because Europe is actually one continent, we're living together. And yes, Norway may not be a member of the EU, but we are part of the EEA agreement, we're part of the single markets. So we're in this together, and this is actually all part of this. So I'm going to sit down here and listen to what has been achieved, getting inspired for what we can do in the future. I just want to say thank you very much to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brunstad. Hvala puno veleposlaniku na
Thank
ovom
you
vremenu,
to
na
the
ovim
ambassador
zapravo
for his
uvodnim
time
riječima,
and for
skretanju
these
pažnje
words
na ono
and
bitno.
focusing on what really is
Pozdravljam
relevant.
ujedno i
Now
predsjednika
we would
Odbora
like
za
to
financijske mehanizme.
greet
Sa nama
the
je
president
gospodin
of
Live
the
Trana,
financial
pa ću ga zamoliti da nam
mechanisms,
se pridruži
Live
ovdje na
Trana.
bini.
I
Could you
would like
please join
to
me
ask him to
here,
join me
please?
here on stage.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. State Secretaries, Mr. Ambassador, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure to be here in Croatia and to celebrate the results of the successful cooperation between Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Croatia. I'll do something that the Ambassador didn't. I'll mention a few numbers, but I won't delve into them. But about 100 million euros from the EEA and Norway Grants are invested in programs here in Croatia in the current financial mechanisms. And altogether, 6 programs address a wide range of priority areas, and we've heard of some of them from the State Secretary already. They are aiming, as the Ambassador mentioned, to make Croatia greener and prevent, foster inclusion and improve competitiveness. This is the first time Croatia benefits from a full cycle of implementation of the grants. But it's also the first time we, as donor states, and I don't have representatives from Iceland and Liechtenstein here, but they join us in spirit at least. And it's the first time we as donor states benefit from cooperating with our Croatian partners in these programs. And this bilateral cooperation make the EEA grant and Norway grants different from the funds provided by the EU. The exchange and cooperation between partners from Norway, Iceland, and Croatia are unique, and we are convinced that such partnerships between our countries are among the main strengths of the grants. Good bilateral cooperation goes deeper than just providing funds and money. And relationships built through these grants, through this cooperation, often continue beyond the project activities. Allow me to mention a few other characteristics of the grants. First, flexibility and adaptability. Through our funding cycle is supporting the long-term strategic interests of Croatia. It also provides the flexibility to address challenges that are particular to a region or a sector. And we have a great cooperation with the national focal points in this to adapt our programs and projects as situations change. Developing cooperation in specific sectors of mutual interest, such as green growth and blue growth, as mentioned by the Ambassador. The successful cooperation between Croatian and Norwegian partners under the social dialogue and the Decent Work Programme, as well as addressing the need of climate change, are just a few examples. Although the EEA and Norway grants are not a sort of rapid aid mechanisms, we can provide forward-looking support. One such example was after the devastating earthquakes you unfortunately experienced 3 years ago. They motivated a new project under the local development program to develop and modernize seismic hazard assessment and provide knowledge and tools for the development of seismic risk reduction policies. This Kronos project, as it's called, between the University of Zagreb and the University of Bergen in Norway, will be presented during this conference, and I'm looking forward to hearing about this project. Second, the strategic cooperation on an international level. Croatia has applied for membership of the OECD, an ambition we strongly support. One of our projects, your experts cooperate with colleagues from the OECD to strengthen the administrative, managerial, organizational, and governance capacity at both regional and local levels. The aim is to implement the National Development Strategy 2030 in Croatia. Third, the EEA and Norway grants are promoting the core fundamental values enshrined in the treaties of the European Union and that we all share as European. This was also mentioned by the State Secretary. Fundamental rights of respect for human dignity, freedom, democracy, equality, and the rule of law, including respect for minorities. In this context, I would like to highlight the successful implementation of the Justice Program, which was mentioned earlier. Not only did it invest in access to justice for citizens, but it also invested in the education and training of judges, as again was mentioned by the State Secretary. And we were very pleased to be able to go and see the new building in Split yesterday. It's a beautiful building, and I look forward to coming back when it is fully staffed with judges and staff and helping to sort of make the justice sector run even more smoothly here in Split. The EEA and Norway Grants support core European values by providing funds for civil society. The Active Citizens Program has been successful here in Croatia as in the other beneficiary states. The interest from civil society organizations to this funding was very high, and we can already see many high-quality projects that were finalized with the support. A robust and knowledgeable civil society strengthens democracy and supports it. We all need citizens who are active and participate in the democratic process. We need this for our societies to thrive, as mentioned by the ambassador, especially now that we see attacks on our democracy and our values from outside forces, including, and most dramatically, the Russian aggression in Ukraine. Supporting civil society's possibilities to engage with their expertise in the democratic processes is contributing to the resilience of our common European democracy. With this, I thank you so much to the organizers of this conference today to show some of the results that have already been achieved through the current financial mechanism. It's not the end of the cycle, so I also look forward to hearing both about the results that have been achieved today and the results that will be achieved in the months to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Trana, for this introduction. Prije nego krenemo sa samim
Before
prezentacijama i
moving
čujemo
to
malo više
presentations
detalja,
and
za
hearing
sam
more
kraj
details, at the
uvodnih
very
govora
end of these
pozivam
speeches, I would like to
državnog tajnika
invite
u
Domagoj
Ministarstvu
Mikulić, who is the
regionalnog razvoja i
State
fondova
Secretary
Evropske
in the
unije, da nam se
Ministry
pridruži
of
isto
Regional
tako sa
Development
nekoliko
and EU
prigodnih i
funds,
uvodnih
to
riječi.
take the floor. Thank you. Thank you to our moderator. Dear President of the Board for Financial Mechanisms, Mr. Trana, Your Excellency Björnström, colleagues from the ministries, State Secretary, dear representatives of the city of Zadar, who is a host of this manifestation, dear county prefects and representatives of local government, dear donor representatives, representatives of Norway, the Ministry of External Affairs, Norway Embassy, dear users of financial mechanisms and dear media representatives, I would like to greet you all on behalf of the Ministry of Regional Development and EU funds, on behalf of our Minister, Mr. Šime Erlić, who unfortunately could not be with us today, and of course on my personal behalf as well. By joining European Union, Croatia got the possibility of taking part in financial mechanism of European Economic Area and Norway financial mechanism, within which Croatia has at its disposal 103.4 million euros of grants. But this is just one of numerous sources of financing. It is also an opportunity to construct bilateral and partnership relations with the donor countries, Kingdom of Norway, Iceland, and Liechtenstein.
U Hrvatskoj se, kako smo imali priliku čuti, provodi 6 programa na različitim područjima, području pravosuđa, području energetske učinkovitosti, lokalnog razvoja, razvoja istraživanja, inovativnosti i konkurentnosti našeg poduzetništva, socijalnog dijaloga i razvoja civilnog društva.
Development. We also implemented smaller projects, so-called bilateral initiatives, within which we establish and develop bilateral cooperation with organizations from donor countries at very concrete live fields such as firefighting, rescue services, architecture, learning Norwegian language and culture, green transition, and so on. Considering that we are in the last year of the implementation, I think it's it's important to see the situation of the implementation and what are our achievements, the achievements of our joint cooperation. As regards to programs that are implemented in Croatia today, we are going to hear more details from the program managers and users, from the users, through their prepared presentations and panel discussions. Allow me, please, to show a few achievements that we plan to implement. We have 37 projects in the worth 20 million euros in the area of energy efficiency. Croatia has a significant potential there, along with the projects of production from solar and geothermal energy. We also implement pilot projects of applied technology of energy from sea. 4 projects with a value of 17.6 million euros, among which we especially emphasize the renewal or reconstruction of the building of the municipal court in Split that we already heard about, and promotion of e-services in the amount of 12.7 million euros, which is going to contribute to the efficient legal protection of our citizens. 34 projects worth 34.6 million euros, referring to improvement of elementary school education, focusing on STEM education throughout Croatia, where we want to create equal opportunities in educating children with special needs, strengthening strategic planning at regional and local level, and modernization of the evaluation of seismic risk in the Republic of Croatia. This is a great project that occurred after the earthquake in Croatia. We are currently also implementing 12 bilateral initiatives in the field of green transition, field of energy and climate change, blue growth, green mariculture, and sustainable aquaculture. 15 institutions and organizations from Croatia and 14 from Norway take part in this. These are just some of the projects that are being implemented within a financial mechanism in Croatia. And considering that now, in the upcoming period, we have the opportunity to see how it all looks and what level we reached, I am especially glad that today's event, today's conference, gathered the representatives, all representatives who contributed and who took part in reaching these achievements. Our beneficiaries, of course, implementing the projects, are representatives of different ministries that are supporting users to implement their activities and to realize their planned achievements. They help them in dealing with challenges, and there are unfortunately many challenges. I would like to emphasize COVID, earthquakes in the Republic of Croatia, also the increase of prices at the market. With us, we also have the representatives of local community, and they are going to have direct benefit from the project achievements. Our donors and representatives of the Office for Financial Mechanisms, they were aware of the challenges that we are going to face while implementing the projects, not just in Croatia, but in other states as well. And they provided us with the possibility of using flexible measures in order to respond to the challenges that I talked about. What is extremely important and what is extremely nice to see is partnership and friendly relation that we have with our donors. And I believe this relationship is going to be a good base for future cooperation in the future financial perspective. Not to go for too long and to give the opportunity for our panelists and for our presenters, I would like to thank you once more, and I suggest that we move with the presentation of all the results and achievements of the projects that are financed by the financial mechanisms in the Republic of Croatia. Thank you. Thank you to the State Secretary, Mr. Mikulic, for giving us a nice speech and focusing on what is relevant. It's not always easy, so he emphasized challenges, and this is very important, especially when we are talking about such large projects, and especially when we talk about local development and decreasing poverty. This is always a sensitive and challenging topic. For today with us, we have Ivana Novak. Ivana Novak, she is going to present achievements within the program of local development and decrease of poverty. In her presentation, you are going to see also a film that you might have seen in the media. It is great that it's in the media. I think it would be even greater if we shared it, if we encouraged the story, and if we presented it to a wider public so they know what good projects we have. Ms. Novak, the floor is yours. Good day to everyone. Welcome to our conference where we present the achievements that we got within Financial Mechanisms program. I'm especially glad that I have the opportunity to talk about the achievements within the program of local development and decrease of poverty. So in order to get the idea, you have to be aware of the fact, because I know that we have some new people in the audience, I'm going to say a few words about the program. As the ambassador said at the beginning, our program's goal is to decrease inequalities in European Union and, of course, Republic of Croatia. Our local development selected the sector of elementary school education as a modality that is going to deal with such challenges. We had 2 calls and we had 3 different projects. These are strategic projects that enabled us to identify the fields where we can do maximal improvement. Of course, I'm going to emphasize everything about each call and projects later on. When we are talking about focus is on the children because they are the most sensitive group in education and they have to be supported. Among them, we have special groups of talented students and students with difficulties in development. And today we are going to see how this program enables full inclusion for them and full participation in educational process. As we heard today from the State Secretary and from the ambassador or the colleague from Financial Mechanism, we have a great benefit. Through this type of cooperation, we realize bilateral cooperation. So through Financial Mechanism of European Economic Area or Norwegian financial mechanism, we strengthen bilateral relations. And I'm glad to see that this program came up with special achievements and bilateral cooperation that was realized through our projects. In our ministry, we cannot disregard territorial component. We can say that our projects are implemented at over 70 locations throughout the Republic of Croatia. In this manner, we want to reach every area and enable advancement and improvement in education and to provide all children with equal opportunities in an elementary school education. What is especially relevant is that through all other programs, you will see later on, these activities are even greater. So this coverage refers exclusively to local development and decrease of poverty. And to move on to what we achieved. First element of any improvement of the educational system is to start with our teaching, with our educators, with our teachers, and they have to be enabled with new knowledge, new skills, new competencies, and new models of teaching. And through this, we contracted 9 projects with our 9 partners in Iceland and Norway. And up to now, through these 9 projects, we achieved 47 teaching materials out of 30 that were planned. 99 teachers went through education out of planned 75. And we planned only 7, but we included 39 different institutions. We are especially glad to see that we finalized 2 projects, and 4 are going to be finalized in this year. And the rest of the projects are going to be finalized by the end of the period, of foreseen period. So we achieved even more than we planned. And this is really important and really nice to see. So second call consisted of 2 parts, A and B part. We all know that if we want to motivate children for STEM field, we have to assure them with the practical example of applying their knowledge and what they learned. At this photo, you can see children that they use a Microsoft. And when you are asking yourselves what STEM area can you include, you can think about mathematics, chemistry, biology, and so on. So children don't have to have knowledge about physics, mathematics, chemistry, or biology at high level in order for them to apply the knowledge at practical level. So this is a practical example. So how we can provide children or enable them to apply the knowledge in practical sense. So these are 18 projects, 19 partner organizations from Norway and 1 from Iceland. And by now we implemented 21 program of training of trainers, and up to now we have included 897 students out of 200 that were planned. So if children are motivated well, they can show great interest and we can make a great impact. Through B call, we have regional scientific centers that are established pursuant to pilot projects from Norway. A regional scientific center is going to be established in the Republic of Croatia at 4 locations and through 4 cooperation with partner organizations from Norway. The stated elements that are on the sketch are just one sketch presentation of Newton's room. Newton's room is a special tool and form used for teaching children to apply the knowledge in simulated surrounding. One Newton's room enables flight simulation, and the children can learn the lessons from geography, mathematics, and they can apply it and see how this is applied in real life, in practice, how these competencies serve them in real life. And now, shortly, about predefined projects that are our strategic projects. The ambassador and the state secretary already mentioned certain elements that had a great impact. A tent project that uses assistive technology and enables children with difficulties to be included in the teaching process and system. As the project holder, cooperated with the Faculty of Electronics and Computer Engineering, Educational and Rehabilitation Faculty, and we expect great effects of this cooperation. I'm going to ask now the technical department to show us the film that basically says it all.
Djeca sa teškoćama u razvoju uče i komuniciraju na različite načine. Asistivna tehnologija
enables them to communicate.
uz nju brže i lakše uče.
They learn better and easier with it, and they take part in everyday activities. Carnet project ATTEND equips educational institutions in order to provide equal opportunities to all children. Thank you. Okay, let's move on with next project. I'm especially proud because the Republic of Croatia in 2017 established strategic project for planning. This means that in 2021 we had our first development strategy, but in 2017 we were aware of the fact that we have to strengthen competencies at regional and local level, and this is why I'm glad that this project focuses on cooperation with the Organization for Economical Development and Cooperation. So this is where Croatia tends to be, and we exchange knowledge with them, and we also contribute to our joining to OECD. And at the end, a Kronos project. Croatia is a base of geophysics, and this is maybe an inconvenient, we had a maybe inconvenient earthquake, and it left certain consequences to our citizens, and therefore it was a motivator for projects such as this one. I would like to thank the donors, but definitely the University of Bergen. They were really a partner that assists you, helps you, and really we had great cooperation, especially when our representatives had to gather the data, but they did not have the equipment. So the University of Bergen really assisted us. They ensured equipment in order for our scientists to gather data as regards to seismic activities at risk areas. And then we ask ourselves, what use is this? Because, and the use is that the gathered data, gathered models, created models will be shared with all relevant institutions. And the final goal is to either make the proposal of the acts and relevance regulations so that the effect and the consequences of the future events are not so severe for our citizens. And at the very end, I'm going to say a few words about a few key indicators. We realized the cooperation. I said already how many students were educated through our activities and how many of them were joined. 39, we included 39 institutions in our project activities, and we planned just 7. 47 teaching materials were developed, and there were only 30 planned. Thank you to all of you. Thank you for the cooperation and the implementation of our program of local development and decrease of poverty. I would like to thank all of you who could not be here today with us, but are with us through stream. And I would like to wish us all a lot more of these projects and a successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Novak. Before we get introduced to some of the project leaders and participants, I would like to ask, in the end, we have Mr. Domagoj Maršić, Deputy of the Unit for the Project Management, and he is going to present us the achievements in judicial affairs and Interior Affairs. Good day to all of you. First of all, I would like to welcome all guests and participants of the conference. So today, through a very short presentation, we will show you the achievements of the project. So let's start with the basic information about the project. The project objective is strengthening of the rule of law, strengthening of the services. The project manager is the Ministry of Judiciary and international partner in this project. Our partner was the Council of Europe. We received 15 million euro, out of which 2.6 were financed from national funds. We also had a bilateral fund within the program, and we had some bilateral projects in the amount of 450,000 euro. So this program is realized through 4 predefined projects. The biggest one and the financial financially most significant was PDP-1. This is the reconstruction of the building of the municipal court in Split and promotion of e-services. So the first component is the reconstruction of the court, and this reconstruction of the court is currently reached an end. Construction works are completed, and currently we are equipping, fitting the building. So the court should become operative in the spring of 2024. Related to the component 2, promotion of e-services, we adopted guidelines for introduction of new e-services in the Ministry of Judiciary. We had a media campaign about raising awareness with outreach of more than 3 million citizens. And the final component, our judges were in a partnership with Judicial Academy. They all had 1 year working at the European Court of Human Rights, considerably improving their professional capacities. So another predefined project is strengthening of protection of human rights and public safety through enhancement of probation service capacities. So within this project, the biggest investment was the establishment of the Center for Electronic Surveillance, and this make it possible that the convicts can serve their time from not in the detention center, not in prison. We obtained we bought 4 cars for the needs of the probation service. We enhance collaboration between the prison system and probation service, and we had a pilot project implemented, Roma Mentors, so collaboration with the state institution was strengthened during this project. The third predefined project is a revision of methodology of the evaluation of work of judges. We carried out analysis. We are currently preparing comparative analysis. We selected 3 countries as partners, Austria, Netherlands and Portugal, and after that we will have some guidelines for improvement of the methodology of evaluation when it comes to work. So Croatian Judicial Council, who is a partner, they decided to change, or they should change the methodology. They should adopt 20% of these recommendations. The last predefined project is enhancement of the mediation system. We had 543 persons who completed training on mediation, and we prepared sociological and legal analysis. Why don't we use this mediation service more? Currently we are preparing the manual, and we are preparing comparative analysis about the same systems in Norway, Portugal and Austria. Very soon we will start with a media campaign, so 1.5 million of citizens will be the outreach of our awareness raising campaign. And lastly, we have bilateral activities implemented in collaboration with the Norwegian Court Administration. We had 6 webinars for judges, state attorneys and other judiciary staff. We had the conference about the 10 years to mark the 10 years of work of Croatian Probation Service. We are preparing, now we have the project proposal. We were allocated funds from the national bilateral funds. So we are preparing the project of strengthening capacities for resocialization of prisoners through ICT. So we will equip prisons with ICT equipment. We will have classrooms so that they can be trained. And the last proposal, which is not on the slide, but we will participate at the initiative of Croatian Courts Administration. It's called The Judges Under Stress. This is the working title of the project. So we will also, our Croatian judges will participate. So this is all the projects. And now please, could you just show the film that we prepared about these projects?
E-komunikacija štedi vaše vrijeme i olakšava pristup sudovima. S bilo koje lokacije možete saznati sve o vašem sudskom predmetu. Brzo i jednostavno provjerite status vašeg predmeta na sudu, bez odlaska na sud.
Court case, no waiting, no registration. So with these e-services of our judiciary system, you can save time and money. So we have had quarrels permanently. We wasted our time. We wasted money. And then we took things in our own hands. So if you are not going to do it, who is going to do it? So mediation makes it possible, enables faster and more efficient resolution of disputes. So mediation for life, for living without disputes. Go to this web page to see more. So this is all that I wanted to say. Thank you for your attention. Many thanks to you for your time. So I can't, I now need a little bit of help because I need assistance to put chairs on the stage for my dear guests and panelists. Please put the chairs on the left. So this is it for the introductory part. Maybe you have been wondering when we will have our break. Don't worry. In 30 minutes or a little bit more, we are having our first coffee break. And we are going to get introduced to some project leaders. So what is it that, what has been achieved for green and inclusive and competitive Europe, friendly relations with the donor countries, what were the projects like? So as time allows us, we will talk about it. So first of all, I would like to, a little bit of water for the hydration of my dear guests. I would like to ask Mr. Josip Stipčević to join me, Ms. Renata Šimunko, Mr. Marin Urlić. Please give them a warm welcome, warm applause. Don't be shy. Mr. Goran Brkić and Mr. Vanja Bilić, so that we can start talking. Thank you very much. This looks like interrogation, but this will not be that bad. How are you doing? Are all the mics working? I mean, I can hear you because you're very close to me, but the audience can't hear us. I hope that all people who are actually watching us via stream, that they are actually managing to listen to the interpretation. If there are any differences and any difficulties, please let us know. Do you hear all of us? Please, you can talk closer to your mic, please. Yes, we hear each other. So in that case, I would like to thank all our dear guests for the introductory parts, introductory presentations that were an excellent introduction to the first panel. I would like to greet all our dear participants. One of the projects presented by Ms. Novak is the project Kronos. As we could have heard from the very interesting, this acronym Kronos means the development and modernization of the estimation of seismic danger in Croatia. I mean, I don't need to say how important and relevant for our society it is, taking into account the recent earthquake season, earthquakes in Croatia. This is very close. So we have Doctor of Sciences, Mr. Josip Stipčević. So what would be the advantages of the instruments obtained as part of this project? And when we take into account all the existing instruments, for example, so how do you see the continuation of research? First of all, thank you. Please talk closer to the microphone mic. First, thank you very much for asking us here. I feel very nice when I see all the other projects. I feel that our contribution was not that big, but I do hope to continue with implementation of the project activities. So the instruments that we procured to this project, these are very instruments of a very modern technology, very innovative technology. So our initiative was to, in addition to the existing instruments that we have, and that we actually obtain some modern instruments and to try to kind of like come step in step with what goes on in the world today. Another component, very important today, is the education, training of new scientists, new researchers, because the human potentials are the most important potentials, as we know. So these two components together are kind of like a core of our projects. As we can see in future, after we finish this implementation of the first project phase, after we gather data, we will continue with the research of the data. This will go on for years, and I do hope that we will manage to these young scientists, that we actually employ them for the needs of this project, that we will manage to retain them, and they will continue work. So who implemented the project? For example, if you'd like to present in a very few short sentences, what can you tell us? Who was involved in the entire story? The project leader, who could not be with us, is our professor Snežana Markušić, and a number of our colleagues from the Department of Geophysics, like a dozen of our colleagues. Then we have these newly employed colleagues, 5 newly employed scientists, and who are actually running the project. This would be, there are about 15 of us who were actually buying the instruments, installing the instruments, collaborating with the local community. We actually went to schools. We tried to educate the children about the dangers of earthquake. About this was very nice. And when I would like to talk about presentation of project, this is quite an extensive project. This is just a research, a dry research. Basically, we had some other activities. Thank you very much. Here we have representatives represented from another project with a very interesting acronym, ATTEND, and this is the project of CARNET. We heard already a little about it. This is about the realization of equal possibilities, about the for the pupils with some developmental difficulties. So Ms. Renata Šimunkov, the project leader, is today with us. I would like to kindly ask her to point out some of the most interesting achievements of this project. Thank you for this opportunity. First of all, I would like to say that this project, in the 3 years of its duration, we worked with educational institution, centers for education of the children with developmental difficulties these difficulties are so difficult that they can't be a part of a regular system. So all the institutions that actually work with such children were involved in this project, and we introduced software and hardware that makes it easier, that assists learning for such children, and that assists communication of children with their environment. So like mouses, adapted keyboards, tablet communicators that makes it easier for them, software solutions for reading, writing, listening, mathematics, some kind of like additional equipment that actually, so we gave the total freedom to the institutions to select the equipment that would best fit their users. And I think this freedom meant a lot to them, that we didn't predefine for them, okay, we are going to give you this and that. It made it more difficult for us, for the process itself. The equipment is currently in delivery. Some of it is delivered, but basically it will all. So in addition to these centers that were our project partners, we also at the Faculty of Rehabilitation and Educational Sciences, we equipped 2 cabinets, and also the Faculty of Electrical Engineering and Computing. We will equip them with some equipment that will enable them to work easier, and also we know that it is not enough just to put equipment somewhere and expect it to be used. So we invested a lot of effort into education. We prepared a lot of training materials. We had workshops. A lot of webinars expect us. And the representatives of our centers in Croatia visited Iceland for a study visit. They are really full of new ideas. They are very grateful. We really receive very positive feedback, because this project indeed helped for networking of those centers. They said that it meant a lot to them that somebody was actually working with them and dealing with them and their difficulties. I would also like not to forget about the visibility activities. You saw the advertisement, then we have the dissemination of project about how the useful of the financial mechanism instruments. So this we had campaign. We tried to raise the level of awareness of the wider public about the importance of the work with those children. When you mentioned, we saw in this assistive technology, could you maybe try to elaborate what is assistive technology for all of us who are not in daily touch with it? Well, basically, it's also software and hardware. This is a program solution. I don't know the exact number, but a lot of equipment is basically software based, and we try to help children reading, listening, learning mathematics, and I don't know exactly what, because I don't want to make to say something wrong. We had a lot of equipment, a lot of stuff basically that is used for implementation of this software, some switches, adapted keyboards, computer mice, and there was a lot of equipment, and we prepared a big catalog, 120 different items of equipment. Our partners helped us with their professional expertise. So basically our institutions could have selected anything that might suit them. Of course, they were actually only limited by the financial fund. What about not all the equipment was delivered. We started with delivery during summer, so we are actually kind of like doing delivery. This is nice news. I have another question for you, but just me talk to Mr. Marin Urlic, who is going to present us a problem, local development and reduction of poverty, islands of pupils, entrepreneurship and eco-social innovations for sustainable development, Split Dalmatia County. This sounds quite complex. Could you tell us a little bit more about it? First of all, I would like to thank for the invitation and the opportunity to present. Please just talk into the mic better. So this idea was actually Split Dalmatia County.
So it does not have the possibility of development, and we have a huge issue of depopulation. And the idea was to enable island schools some capacities, so strengthening capacities of teachers, who could then transfer this to students. The idea was not just to use one perspective, and then we included the representatives of three sectors: private, public, and civil, and Zadar Split as a representative of association that has experience with eco-entrepreneurship and civil society, joined Split Dalmatia County, their department that work with children, with highly motivated children, and of course we included the company from Norway. Miss Barbara is a founder, and she is originally from Croatia, so we had this perspective of entrepreneurship as well. We started a project. It has a long project. It has a long title, and we came up with all these educations. The main goal was entrepreneurship, the responsibility at local level, active citizenship, and we included workshops that focused on work with talented children. We supported it with good practice examples by a Norwegian partner that proved to be very successful. And the most valuable thing is that the final phase of the project was the implementation of the project in 5 island schools. Children worked with students, with their teachers, and they proved to be very very competent, and children, when they are shown the opportunity to work on the projects, they are ready and happy to be joined in extracurricular activities. I have to emphasize Šolta, Hvar, and Vis. These three islands are in question. Yes, we selected these three islands as pilot projects. We have colleagues from Brač that also contacted us, and they are interested in continuing the cooperation on this project, so we can expand the cooperation, and not just to island schools, but also hinterland schools. So the project is a synergy, a fusion of civil, public, and private sector. And how do you plan to continue with the sustainability? Yes, this is the greatest issue. So what comes now? The good thing is that there is interconference in Split in November, and we are going to present the good examples of good practice. You are all invited. But as for the sustainability of activities, we have one initiative. Center of Excellence of Split in Dalmatia County is the holder. So the idea is to improve the education in the field of STEM, civil society, and so on. So that such projects, such as this one, can be financed from local sources, regional sources. As a person who lived on the island and went to school on Hvar, I would like to personally thank you, because you always forget the islands, and we always wait, and we are always last, so thank you for doing this. One special project, another special project, refers to probation. I don't know how many of you knows about what probation is. So the project is strengthening human rights through improving probation service. It is implemented by the Ministry of Justice. We have Mr. Goran Brkić with us. So I'm interested in few basic information about the project. Can you just make it more clear, the idea of probation?
Evo, ja vjerujem da su manje-više svi čuli što je probacija. Probacija je služba koja nadzire izvršavanje sankcija i mjera na slobodi. Znači oni koji ne idu u zatvor dolaze pod nadzor probacije, izvršavaju bilo rad za opće dobro, bilo uvjetnu osudu, sigurnosnu mjeru ili izlaze ranije iz zatvora i dolaze pod nadzor probacije. Evo, zahvalit ću vam se što ste nam dali priliku da predstavimo projekt. Stvari brzo zaboravimo. Znači, projekt, evo, ovo je jedan u nizu projekata, projekt probacije, projektno dijete, od Transition Facility-a, od IPE, od svih onih projekata koji smo bili s nam dosta na raspolaganju, smo ih uvijek koristili. Ali kažem, stvari se brzo zaborave. Mi smo, evo, stvarno ovaj projekt je omogućio na neki način renesansu probacijske službe i imamo u planu sad evo za potrebe ove konferencije koju ćemo održati u idući mjesec u Opatiji tiskati jednu brošuru da ovo što je rađeno kroz proteklih godinu i pol dana intenzivno da ostavi trag. Nekako probaciji smo stavili si 3 osnovna cilja razvoja probacijske službe. To su ljudi, to su alati i to su materijalno-tehnički uvjeti. Kroz ovaj projekt nam upravo omogućio to. Ulagali smo u alate. Državna tajnica spomenula elektronički nadzor. Elektroničkom nadzoru se govori u Republici Hrvatskoj od 2009. I uvijek je bilo da imate probaciju, nemate elektronički nadzor. Dio ovog projekta smo omogućili i uveli elektronički nadzor u Republici Hrvatskoj. Državna tajnica spomenula da trenutačno koristimo samo za nadzor uvjetno otpuštenih osuđenika, ali prepreke nema i radimo na tome da proširimo njegovu upotrebu na druge faze kaznenog postupka. Nabavili smo opremu, nabavili smo softver, osposobili smo ljude, oformili nadzorni centar i nadziramo. To je jedan alat koji nama su izuzetno bitan alat u radu naših stručnjaka i procjena rizika. Imamo jedan instrument za procjenu rizika koji kad dođe osuđenik i to popunite i pokaže vam koliko osuđenik, da li je visoko rizičan, da li je nisko rizičan, i u skladu primjeri radi program izvršavanja njegove sankcije. U okviru prethodnih projekata mi smo taj instrument prilagodili i doveli ga u Republici Hrvatskoj, ali ga nikad nismo napravili znanstvenu validaciju.
We need to
nama je
have
ovaj
good
projekt
validation
omogućio
system.
da
This project enabled
da
us
taj instrument
precisely this,
validiramo, da smo sigurni,
to
ako instrument pokaže
to validate the
da je
instrument,
osoba
to
visoko
be
rizična, da je
safe.
to
If the system shows
taj,
that it's a highly risk
taj
person,
podatak je
that this
znanstveno valjan,
data is
znanstveno temeljen.
accurate, that this
Napravili
information
smo
is
u
accurate.
okviru alata isto tako, mi je volimo
Within
reći,
the tool,
opći
we
tretmanski
also
program.
did a general treatment
Onaj dio,
program.
vi ako hoćete
So,
napraviti promjenu osuđenika,
if
vi
you
trebate
want
tretmanski raditi.
to change
Napravili
this
smo jednu
person, this
opći tretmanski
convict, you
program
need
gdje
a
smo
treatment. We
točno
did a
definirali
general
što u
treatment
kojem razdoblju
plan,
radite sa
and we
osuđenikom kroz koje
defined
vrijeme.
what you should do
Napravili smo
with
isto jedan
what type of
instrument za procjenu
convict
seksualaca,
at what
počinitelja seksualnih
what
kaznenih djela.
stage. For
Sve
example,
više, to su jedna posebna kategorija osuđenika,
we have
zahtjeva
special
specifična
group,
znanja
of,
i zbog toga smo
convicts
stavili naglasak,
referring to sexual
razvili smo jedan
crimes,
poseban
and they need
instrument za
special
procjenu te
treatment.
vrste
We also need a
osuđenika.
tool to evaluate
Druga stvar,
such convicts.
kažem, evo, nekad imate i sreće u provedbi
Sometimes
projekata.
you
Nama
have-
je
you are
od
lucky
elektroničkog
while
nadzora
implementing the
ostalo jako
project.
puno novaca, tiče se hard
We are
komponente,
left, for example,
uredili smo
with
probacijske
finance
urede.
as of
Mi smo uložili
from the
prilike,
section that
do
had
kraja
to
projekta
refer
ćemo
to
uložiti
electronic
prilike oko
supervision.
480
So we
tisuća
organized some
eura u
other
uređenje
things.
probacijskih ureda.
We
Digli smo razini sigurnosti u
redecorated
probacijskim uredima.
probation
Sad su svi
service,
probacijski uredi opremljeni
offices.
panik
They-
tipkama, video portafonima i
They
video
all
nadzorom.
got video
Znači sada kad
supervision,
vam
for
dođe
example,
osuđenik,
which
kad
is
vidi
really
da je
important. So
postav, da
once
ima
the
i video
convict
portafon,
comes,
da ima panik
and
tipka,
when they
ipak se on
see that you have
drugačije.
video
Jer probacija
supervision
radi
and
protiv
everything,
svih
he
počinitelja
acts
svih vrsta kaznenih
differently
djela,
because
tako
probation
da
service
morate
works with
ulagati,
all
morate
types of
ulagati
convicts,
ljude,
and you
morate
have to
ulagati
invest into people. You
Nabavili
have
smo
to
4
invest into
auta,
infrastructure.
2 auta za
We
Centar
supplied
za
4
elektronički
cars,
nadzor,
2
2
cars
auta za
for
2
the
nova
Center
ureda koja smo
for
međuvremeno
electronic
otvorili, koja
supervision,
nismo pokupili kroz
and
tranzicijski facility,
2
a to je
cars
probacijski ured
for
Vukovar, a to je
probation
probacijski ured Dvor.
office in
Onaj dio,
Vukovar.
svi smo svjesni
So
državne upravi,
we are all
ljudi nam
aware of the
odlaze,
state
ljudi su
administration.
najveća
There are a lot of forums and so
Kroz
on,
ovaj
but
projekt
people are the
omogućili
greatest
smo,
asset.
da
This
36
project enabled
službenika s terena
us that 36
ode u job shadowing
officials
Norvešku,
on the working on the field,
i
going
druge
to
u
Norway,
6 evropskih
into
zemalja vide
6
kako njihove
different
kolege.
countries,
Mi smo ako radimo u središnjim
and to
uredima
see
i tako, smo
how
obično bili ti koji smo
colleagues
odlazili
there
u
work.
studijske
So there was an
posjete i
exchange.
tako. Ovo
We
je sad
had
prvi
study
puta
visits,
da su službenici
but
oni
this
koji
was the
rade,
first
neposredni
time
izvršitelji,
that our
omogućeno idi vidi kako
officials,
tvoj
people
kolega,
working on the
razgovara s
field,
osuđenikom,
had
kako
the
ide na
opportunity
teren,
to
što radi,
see
kako radi.
how
Intervju
other
učiniti.
people in other countries in the
Pokazalo
same
nam se
situation as
jako,
them, so
jako, jako.
people working on the field, how
Razvili
they
smo tako
work.
jedan fenomenalan projekt, pilot projekt Roma Mentor na
We
području
also did a
Međimurske
project
županije.
of Roma mentors in the area of Međimurje County. So we took 6 representatives of Roma people, and they were the connection between local community and institutions of the Republic of Croatia. So if a Roma child doesn't come to kindergarten or elementary school, the school could contact Roma mentor, and the mentor would go to this family to see what happened with the kid. Through the public health service, we organized the vaccination, COVID vaccinations for Roma people. Police had a lot of preventive activities like banning weapons in Roma settlements. It was really, really important.
Ono što smo također, znači organizirali smo, evo,
We also organized,
kad sam ušao ovo
when I came to this room, the first image I got,
na predzadnje prošle godine konferenciji.
I was a DJ 2 years ago at a similar conference here.
Jako dobro smo ostvarili suradnju sa Norveškom upravom za izvršavanje sankcija.
The point is cooperation. We have great cooperation with Norwegian service and the public authorities, and I hope this cooperation is going to continue. We are going to get 36 representatives of Norwegian judges and organizations, and we are going to try to create a synergy and to expand it. So this synergy that we got in the sector working with probation, we are going to try to expand it to lawyers, to judges, and so on. So it lasts as of 2020. Yes, COVID kind of disturbed our plans, but we started the cooperation then. So some activities were postponed, but when we started working, when COVID basically slowed down, we really had great achievements. In all our activities, we were supported by ex-ambassador of Norway in ambassador. It's easy when you have partners. When you have good partners and supporters, it's really easy to implement projects, to do all the activities. Yes, this is why today's topic is really important, and fusion of two different mechanisms. Thank you for that. Last but not least, we have another representative of Minister of Justice and Administration, Vanja Bilic. He is going to present the benefits that citizens in Croatia had from advancing the system of mediation, court mediation. People in Croatia are not aware of this opportunity. But it would make a lot of things easier. Can you explain a bit? Thank you. So you saw our motto is life without dispute. So this is our starting point, as you say. The situation, for example, where you can have a tool, but where this tool is not recognized, and tool being mediation. This exactly is the reason why we knew that we can develop here. So the idea was to improve the mediation in Croatian judicial system. We went to certain countries and we saw that this tool is used more in other countries than in Croatia. It is very important that in this country, in Croatia, that we work on the fact of breaking the prejudice that we cannot do something. So when people try to solve a problem, then they are the greatest obstacle, they themselves. So we were in a situation where the society did not recognize the possibility of mediation. The whole society basically reacted, we cannot do it, it's not for us. And I'm proud to say that at this moment, after 3 years of work, so as of June 2020, we have the opportunity, we recognize the opportunity of mediation. We not only recognize it as an opportunity to deal with court procedures, but we recognize it as an opportunity to deal with conflicts in general. We accepted this possibility, and we included even children because certain types of communication and behavior are learned at a very young age. Conflict is a word that, once you think about it, it means basically joint destiny. We are social beings and we come into conflicts. That's normal. But most conflicts in Croatia have been dealt at court. In the Netherlands, for example, we learned that 43% of cases of conflicts do not have the possibility of good solution at court, because conflicts don't occur only in the world of ideas, but also in the world of emotions. We are emotional beings, and of course, court is about thoughts, about reason, not about emotions. So in certain number of cases, you have the outcome of a dispute where nobody is satisfied because things that are relevant in order to solve the dispute were not considered. Now, we started a campaign of making the public aware, so we are going to release a small film in our media space. Please do recognize it and relate to it. And one of relevant things that this project is going to result in, apart from things being on the paper and so on, is exactly what I have been talking about. One impression that you can live without dispute and that we want to live like that as a society. Thank you. I'm glad that you mentioned the media. So the film is not in the media, but it's going to be released. It's going to be released within this week. It had to be released at the beginning of September, but I hope it will be released at the latest by the beginning of October. It would be nice that the public recognizes this, and every change starts from ourselves. So if we on our own recognize something, if we share it, if we recognize it, then this is the beginning, of course. Thank you. Do you think that media campaigns are lacking? Do you think that maybe we are not informing the public enough through media? Thank you for the question. I think we have this problem, but it's normal because media lives off bad emotion. Bad, poor emotions encourage engagement, and pursuant to poor, bad emotions, people stay online, they buy more content, they use internet more. We don't have any sensational news. We are not talking about anything bad. We are just informing them about possibilities that they have. Our news is not sensation. And of course, we are not in the media so much automatically. We are not a news that people are likely to accept because we are not front page news. Yes, it's not enough talk about. Yes, because it's in our story, a person didn't bite a dog. Yes, nothing dramatic, nothing strange. We are just offering something to make your world better. Thank you. I would go back to seismic risk to Mr. Stipčević. 28 seismic instruments, if I'm not mistaken. 5 scientific papers. What else would you emphasize for the very end, considering that we are limited by time? Not just 28 instruments. We obtained experimental seismic instrument using optical fibers, and it can transfer it into sensor. Now we have the opportunity to use any optical infrastructure. We are now negotiating about that, let's say, to use it in a long run. And just one more thing as for papers, it's not just 5 scientific papers. I would consider it personal failure if it would be 5. So I think there is now around 25 scientific papers within 2 years published and made. For our field of work, seismology, it's really a great number of papers. And I think this potential, I think that we are going to keep the quality. So what was the most challenging part? Well, do we want to hear about the most challenging part? The supply. The supply was definitely the most challenging. Yes, everybody in the room agreed. Please, a round of applause for all of you who survived the process of supply. But as Ms. Novak mentioned, we were aware that this is going to be a challenging procedure, and this is why we planned it together with the partners in Bergen to borrow the equipment from them and to set it all until we finalize the supply in Croatia. Thank you, Mr. Stipčević. Ms. Renata Šimunko, you mentioned, we talked before the panel, and then we talked about the participants on the project, and I'm not going to talk about them. You are going to do it. Well, first of all, Karnet, with his long experience, became an expert as regards to supply of different institutions. We supplied all the schools with suitable equipment, but for this project we needed expertise that we did not have, so we included 2 partners, faculties, and they cooperate and work on the projects. So This is a combination of two faculties dealing with technology and education. They helped us a lot. They implemented all the activities. They created the workshops and the details, and they helped us a lot in creating a catalog of assistive equipment. And they are working at all projects and our activities with us. The city of Rijeka also is an inspiration. Their Department for Youth, they helped us with expert knowledge, their experiences in different parts of projects. Where they took part the most is hosting us. Both project partners and the representatives of all centers. They showed us how they use assistive technologies, how they work with children with disabilities. They introduced us to their educational system, and this was a really interesting experience and valuable experience. Yes, and applicable as far as it's possible within our system. Yes, I would also like to thank the Ministry of Regional Development. It's with us all the time, and it supports us. So it's worth mentioning. Thank you, Mr. Urlic. I would like to go shortly back to the topic of Zadar, the project that you took part in. What about this active citizenship? How is this applied? Do you have examples?
Well, like ACE from... So the point was to go to social entrepreneurship and active citizenship, higher accountability to the community, no profit realization, investment, actually in development of local community. So children had 5 projects. So we have another one of the regional schools, rural school. So the children from the primary school, Sučuraj on the island of Hvar, is the project Be My Light. They identify the collaboration through lighthouses between Croatia and Norway, link where the lighthouses, and they made a little souvenir out of things they actually found around their school, stones, leaves. So they made a lighthouse which actually connects, kind of like a souvenir. It's a beautiful souvenir. And also also another comment, as my colleague said, the partnership is very important. In every project, this partnership was more than successful, especially because we had representatives from all 3 sectors. And another important thing is that implementing authorities are more controlling authorities. And we would like to thank you, our colleagues from the Ministry of Regional Development. They were actually really devoted, dedicated to implementation, and they were of huge assistance to us. Thank you very much for these conclusions. First of all, shortly, when it comes to strengthening of human rights under Ministry of Justice, you mentioned the project Roma Mentors. But what are the project? This project is completed in April 20. What are the plans for future? So we signed a contract for 5 years. And this electronic surveillance equipment will be financed. After that, the Ministry of Justice will take it, the sustainability of the project. I mean, there is no going back after this. So basically, when it comes to the pilot project of Roma Mentors, the Međimurje County actually took over financing. I mean, the Ministry of Justice can't finance by itself all the projects because these projects are actually used by the entire local community. So we need to find maybe a better model of financing. But very soon, I'm convinced we will have maybe a gap when it comes to financing, but we are still in contact and step by step, yes. And mediation. What are the challenges challenges of mediation, of application of mediation. Okay, raising the level of awareness. We heard some problems that were actually caused. The challenges are numerous and many. Always it's prejudices. You have like a mindset, you have a set of prejudices predefined, and they are kind of like preventing you to actually adopt some new ideas. I'm very extremely proud that we have managed to actually break down some of those prejudices. We have even concrete numbers. I'm not going to, let me not say that all the judges, even the judges that participated, in some of the judges that participated in training were actually prejudiced. And we managed to break down all those prejudices that were a barrier. And all the judges marked our training from excellent to genius to wonderful. They are very pleased with the training they received, and the direct use for the judges is a very concrete value in the application during their everyday job. So the things that I actually informed you about, they can use them. They can use these knowledges as mediators in their during their litigation. And even in the litigation proceedings, because this is kind of like a set of skills that they have for communication, and they can identify maybe the dispute that is actually suitable for mediation, for amicable resolution. Maybe just a comparison. Christine, our Norwegian expert, she showed us their statistics, and it is like 30% of disputes are resolved by mediation. Currently, we are 0.3, so we have a huge room for improvement by slow and safe steps. But we made a huge step forward. As part of this project, I would like to quote my colleague Iva from the Commercial Court in Zagreb. Very recently, in June, we had a tsunami of actually attempts at amicable resolution. Yes, this is excellent results. So I would like to stop here, because our guests and all of you are ready for a short coffee break, because we have had so many wonderful pieces of information. I can congratulate to all of you from all sides, first, second, and third. A great applause for the strength, for resiliency, for insistence, persistence. I wish you a lot of patience in all the things that are coming. And I mean, this is not the end of the story. This is only the beginning of the story. And changes are around the corner. And so when we are afraid, when we do not know what is awaiting us, we are actually blocked, and we don't want that. Thanks to my wonderful guests, once again, thanks to all of you. We will be back in some 15 minutes with the second part of our conference. Enjoy your coffee break.
Good day to everyone. We are back. Please take your seats so we can continue with today's conference. Thank you.
The rain is falling, and greetings to all those people who maybe joined us after the break, and welcome to the continuation of the conference. So, in the Republic of Croatia, 2014-2021, some of the projects are actually under implementation. We've heard about some of the projects, and some of the projects actually will talk about what kind of challenges await them. Thanks for all of you who are with us. Thanks to all of you online, whether in Brussels or any other location. I hope you managed to have a short break, do a little bit of networking, and you can do that, more of that, during lunch. So let's move on to the second part of our conference. In Croatia, we are a little bit relaxed when it comes to time, so maybe we will be, we are a little bit late. So we continue with the topic energy and climate changes. I would like to ask the head of the directorate, Mrs. Stella Arneri, to present us the achievements of this program. Please give her a warm welcome. Good day to all of you. I would like to thank Katarina, our excellent moderator. And as Katarina said in the beginning, it's a rainy day. We work on climate changes, or at least we try to work on climate changes. The program Energy and Climate Changes is also financed by the financial mechanism of European Economic Space 2014-2021. And this program memorandum of agreement was signed in December 2012. The structure is quite specific. So the project administration, project manager is program operator is Ministry of Regional Development, EU funds. Our program partner is the Energy Institute, Hrvoje Požar, and this is the win-win of this program actually, because the Energy Institute, Hrvoje Požar Energy Institute, is a partner that provides us with technical and professional expertise during implementation of this project. We also have our donor partner, which is the Norwegian Administration for Water Resources and Energy. And I'm sorry that the experts, Bjorn, Holle and Gun, here with us, they are not with us today, but all the time they monitor us and they lead us in successful implementation of this project. And of course we have National Focal Point, which is the Directorate for Strategic Planning and Coordination of EU funds. The objectives of this program, as you can see, is the increase of use of energy efficiency technologies with the smaller emission of carbohydrates and increased energy supply, safe energy supply in the Republic of Croatia. And the area of program focus in Croatia include renewable energy sources, sun and geothermal energy, mitigation of climate changes. And now to continue, the set outcomes of this project, we have two outcomes. One is the improved energy efficiency, and we will achieve this by predefined project. The project leader is the Hrvoje Požar Energy Institute, and the partner is the Faculty of Civil Engineering in Zagreb as the project partner. The next outcome is increased energy obtained from renewable sources. So it will be realized by the 4 open calls for proposals, project proposals, and 2 open calls for project proposal of a smaller value. Total amount for these projects is 20 million euro with a national co-financing of 3 million euro. The operation of this program is 1.5 million euro. Predefined project is total allocation was 1.6 million euro, and the call that was published for call for proposals is 17.3 million euro. So in the next few slides, we are going to show what have we achieved so far. So we had 4 calls for proposals, one for increased capacities for production of solar energy. We have 19 contracted projects in the total amount of grant funds, about 9 million euro. Production of energy from the sea, we have 3 contracted projects in the total amount of 2.2 million euro. Then we have preparation of technical documentation for use of geothermal energy, also in the amount of 2.2 million euro. And we have 3 contracted projects in the total value of 2.1 million euro. This is increased capacities for production of geothermal energy. Also, we have 2 calls for proposals, projects of smaller value. This is the preparation of the databases of deep geothermal energy with 1 partner, and we also had preparation of databases for shallow geothermal energy sources. So what are our achievements? Taking into consideration that we signed contracts in May 2022, we can say that implementation, basically we have only had 1.5 years of implementation. We have 6 or 7 months by the end. So the achievements, I would like to start with this predefined project. As I pointed out, our project partner, the Institute Hrvoje Požar, they already conducted analysis. On the left of each side, you see the outputs of the projects that are achieved and some that we partially expect by the end of the implementation. So we had a number of analyses conducted, analysis of the existing state of conditions, development of the new NZEB project. We started the depth restoration of the existing building. The project was actually establishment of the national training centers for the buildings with almost zero energy, and this building of the institute will become an educational center. So we had the procurement finished. The work started on the 15th of September 2023, and the completion of work is expected by the end of the implementation of the project. And now we are preparing some other training materials. This maybe is the actually landmark of the entire program. Because of the allocation, what we plan to achieve through 19 contracted projects for this call for proposals are 173 pilot investments, 172 solar power plants, and 1 battery. And we will realize 13,000 megawatts per year. This is an estimated annual production of megawatts from solar energy, and out of which we estimate that the reduction of CO2 will be 14,000 tons on an annual basis, and we will have 12.37 of installed capacity, solar production capacities of megawatts. Now we have installed some 46 solar panels on buildings. 15 were actually launched. 112 solar power plants that need to be realized. They are currently now in the high phase of implementation. Procurements are completed. The installation is currently under process. The call for proposals for the production of energy from sea. This is a very rare technology in Croatia. This has been a very rare technology in Croatia so far. And so we had maybe this kind of this project, one of these projects we had via Interreg instrument. There is a huge potential. We contracted 3 projects, these heat pumps with seawater. Estimated annual production of megawatts per year is 2,546 megawatts annually. Reduction of annual emission of CO2 will be 1,000 tons and 1.9 installed capacities of megawatts. So these are our 3 projects. One is actually, on one we just actually install heat pumps. This is in Gruž in the city of Dubrovnik. Then we have the orthopedic hospital in Rovinj. It is currently in a very high phase of implementation of procurement and the final completion of the project. And we will have the concrete works soon, and the project of the shipyard Viktor Lenac. By the end of September, they will end the procurement started for their heat pumps. Also, we have 3 projects contracted for increasing capacities for production of geothermal energy. On the left, you see the outputs that are expected, 3 pilot investments, infrastructural, very concrete works on wells, 113,407 megawatts per year. This is the estimated production of geothermal energy, 20,900 tons of reduction of CO2 on an annual basis, and 20.20 megawatts of installed capacities for production of geothermal energy. All of those projects are currently in a very high phase of implementation. Some procurements are still under implementation, and about the concrete works on exploratory wells are ongoing. We also have 9 projects that are basically kind of like a follow-up. We finance preparation of technical documentation for use of geothermal energy, and these 9 contracted projects, we have 9 pilot investments of preparation of technical documentation for establishment of system for use of geothermal energy, 224,094.88 megawatts annual production. We estimate 43,942.03 tons of estimated reduction of annual CO2, and we will have 46.15 installed megawatt capacities. Also, all the projects are in high phase. We are waiting for some location permits. We have already actually issued 8 location permits for exploratory areas. Some procurements are completed, some surveys or geologic surveys are under preparation, etc. Out of these 2 calls of so-called smaller values, another one was the preparation of databases for deep geothermal energy. One applicant, we had only one project applicant, and so we selected one project. So we will prepare geothermal maps with all the data about temperatures received from measurements from the existing wells. So most data were analyzed. We are currently under preparation of this geothermal map, which will be useful for possible future investments. And also, on this last call, we are preparing the development of the databases for shallow geothermal energy. We collected this data, and we are currently preparing maps of these areas, GIS maps, which we can actually show you. We are currently preparing online interactive GIS maps. So all those locations were visited by all the project participants and experts. So this is the overview of the maps that are under preparation. Of course, during the entire project implementation, we had like the initial, we had 31 workshops with the objective of dissemination of results, and we had 22 workshops in collaboration with donor countries, donor partners, and we also were at 2 study visits, one in the Kingdom of Norway, one in Iceland. We had various meetings, workshops, and round tables. Internally in our directorate, we often joke that we actually got this project as a Christmas gift. But this is this is very positive that we have very diligent people working on the team, and we have our very diligent colleagues at the Energy Institute, and we really are given a huge support, financial support from our international partners, and who are basically running us, guiding us through this program. And I think that this is a huge gift for the Republic of Croatia, especially for us operatives who work on these administrative things. We learn a lot. And in the end, a little surprise, a film about solar power plants, solar panels actually installed as within this program.
Thank you to the director, Ms. Agnera, for this intro into second part of today's story. So now we are at innovation, competitiveness, and education. We have 2 presenters. Marin Paladin presents achievements of the program, and Ms. Lilic with him. Please, a round of applause for them. So it's only you, or the colleague is coming? Good day to everyone. I'm Erli Ilic, and together with my colleague, I'm going to present a program of business development and innovation Croatia. And the manager is Fund Innovation Norway. Innovation Norway is the most important instrument of Norwegian government for innovations and encouraging entrepreneurship. Innovation Norway has its centers throughout the world in order for the representatives of Innovation in Norway to be close to the target market. In this part of Europe, in the countries of European Union that are left behind in the social development sector in comparison to average in the European Union, Innovation Norway is a partner. It is a partner in business programs, and these business programs exist in 10 countries in Europe, including Croatia. So a few words about the program. The goal of the program is to improve the competitiveness of Croatian economy in order for Croatian entrepreneurs to be competitive at the international market, and in order to decrease economical and social inequalities between Croatian regions and average of European Union. But we also have one other goal that has to be achieved with the project, and that is improve the cooperation between Croatian and Norwegian entrepreneurs. A total budget of the program and as I later will say, we practically completely consumed it, is 22 million euros. There are two focus areas within our program, and this is green industry innovation and blue growth. So green and blue economy. Primarily, we are focused on medium and small-sized enterprises, especially as they are generators of development, and our program is realized through main call, so-called main call, investment into equipment and new business solutions for international markets. We call it main call, and special call for development of soft skills, that is called soft measure call. I want to emphasize that all calls are realized. We had 4 calls, and all 4 are closed. Selected projects are in different phases of their realization. Some are finalized. They all have to be finalized up to 30th of April 2024, so there is not much time left. These graphs present a little bit of statistics. So first graph presents a number of project applications through all calls. We had approximately 147 applications, and in the second call we had a bit less interest, but it was in the middle of COVID situation, so at a time that we had great restrictions and measures, and I assume that this is one of the reasons why there was a lack of interest. But in the third call, this interest was more intensive, and basically we had the higher number of project applications than in the first call. As for the amounts that were applied, they are in accordance. You can see that the first and third call had larger values than the second one. And of course, there was greater interest for green industry, considering that each branch of industry can be called green. Blue industry refers to sea and to waters, but blue cannot be every industry, and so there was less interest. It's logical. As for allocation, I mentioned at the beginning that our complete budget was 22 million. It includes other expenses as well, not just the budget for projects. Through these three calls, I'm just talking about the main calls, investing into equipment and new solutions. So through all three calls, we basically allocated everything that was at our disposal. We put here the amount of 85,000 euros that was not allocated, but the situation changes from day to day. So from the day that when we sent this presentation until today, the situation changed. And when we take into consideration all three main calls and soft measure call that I'm going to mention later on, actually Marin is going to speak about it, we have 300 euros that was not allocated. We were very busy and we are proud that we could use and allocate all the funds to quality projects. A bit more of statistics. So totally 54 projects were approved. If you put things together here, it is going to show 53. But in the meantime, we approved another project, so in total, it's 54 projects. Plus one predefined project that referred to strengthening the capacities in Croatian Chamber of Commerce. Croatian Chamber of Commerce is our partner at this program, and they are a great assistance for our activities. Up to now, we finalized 11 projects. It is 1/5 basically. Through the projects, we approved basically the funds to 49 Croatian companies, so not 48 but 49, and we had 10 Norwegian partners. I mentioned that one of the goals was to develop bilateral cooperation between Norwegian and Croatian companies. So 1/5 of the projects that we approved has Norwegian partners. Is it good or not? I don't know, but we are satisfied with the partners. They are extremely quality. Of course, there is always space for improvement. And then if we talk about relation of small and medium-sized entrepreneurs and big ones, is 90 to 10%. Not even this number is correct. As for allocated funds, currently this number is 19.6 million euros of grants. As for regional development projects, this is an interesting overview. So it shows us that the largest project activity we have in Istria County. This county is covered in projects, let's say. There are some project activities in central Dalmatia, Split, Šibenik, and so on. Zagreb and Zagreb County is also dense in projects. It's understandable. North Croatia is also active, and Slavonia started to be active around Slavonski Brod as well. So we succeeded to reach them as well, to reach this part of Croatia as well. As for sectorial distribution of grants and funds, so the manner in which we allocated our budget, this is sectorial distribution is versatile. We are proud to have a lot of research and development companies, then metal industry, then civil engineering. Just a few companies referring to waste management, dealing with waste management, graphical industry, and so on. So very, very versatile range of industries. So what are the results? What results are expected out of our program? I have already said that the goal is to strengthen the competitiveness of Croatian economy at international, but first of all at European market. And in order to increase economical and social differences between Croatian region and average in Europe. And of course, having this in mind, our program has both economical and social component. We expect that our program is going to result in generating 366 new work positions. Average income growth and profit growth, it's hard to make the average, but it will be above 100%. So the companies are going to double the profits and income thanks to our project and program. There will be a significant decrease of CO2 emission and a decrease of electricity consumption. We will have a great savings of repair materials. I didn't present it here because it was hard to just, nominally say it, but it will include the textile and the paper or other materials. All our projects, as I already mentioned, contribute to export activities. And we are especially proud of the fact that approximately 15 new solutions are going to be presented for international markets. So completely new solutions are going to be launched at international market. It's worth mentioning that some of them, for example, the development of a mobile solution for textile waste. This is an interesting project. Textile waste is increasing from year to year, and up to now we haven't had adequate solution for disposal of such waste. Very small percentage is recycled. One part is being incinerated, and it is bad for the environment. And this solution focuses on gasification. It's ecologically clean. This gas is ecologically clean, and the textile waste can be dealt in this manner relatively safe. As for cleaning the maritime waste, we also have solution in Istria. This company is developing another convenient solution, a floating island. So throughout the coast, at different points, they are going to set. They call it EcoCube, so floating island that is going to collect waste from boats and ships and so on, so it is not discarded into the sea or into some other other unacceptable manner. We also have another interesting solution. It refers to cleaning the fish farms using IE. So fish farms were cleaned up to now in accordance with regular intervals, not regardless the needs. But this solution is based on artificial intelligence, and it will enable that the fish farm is cleaned when necessary. We were supposed to have a representative of this company, and she would say more about the solution. But colleague Marin was also in charge of this project, and instead of our representative of this company, he is going to say a few words about the project. Good day to everyone. I'm just going to speak for a few more minutes. So Ms. Bedalov, who is a director of the company Bedalov, she was suggested to be a panel participant, but she was prevented from coming today. And I really felt sorry that this project is not presented, because I consider this project to be a very good one. So, what was the problem? The problem was in the fish farms. Fish is grown in large cages. They are made of wires so that the sea can come in and out. And there was an idea of how to clean the cages in a smart manner, because these nets got clogged at a certain point, and there was not enough of sea currents and oxygen, and then this influenced the growth of fish. And we had this issue, and we tried to come up with a solution. Fish farms usually dealt with this problem in a manner that every once in a while they clean all the cages. But they realized that they can that this could be done even in a smarter manner. So our company, our user, Bedalov company, did a software solution. They used images and videos created by robot camera that records these cages. They come up with the idea that these videos and these images automatically contact the persons cleaning the cages. And then the robot cleaners clean the cages. So the project was made in cooperation with a relatively new company from Norway. They were in charge of hardware part. This was a great cooperation, and this is the solution that came out of this project. It's an achievement. We already are implementing different testings, pilot projects in both Croatia and Norway, but in Chile as well, in implementing these solutions, and it reflects throughout the world. We are happy and proud because the world recognizes this project. I'm sorry really that Ms. Bedalov couldn't be here with us because she could tell you more details about the project, but these were just a few words that you are familiar with the project. That's about it for this part. And then I would like to continue shortly with soft measure call. It's a last call that was finalized in May. It was closed in May. And it basically continues, it complements our main call that had 3 rounds.
And they have the same objective, to strengthen the Croatian economy, just different approach. So instead of procurement of equipment, some advanced solutions, we actually included trainings and some study visits, knowledge sharing and similar, and of the enterprises and of the employees. We had like 700,000 euro at our disposal. So the applicants, we had 36 project applications. 19 of them had Norwegian partners, which we actually encouraged, and we had a little bit higher share of the green than blue area, and we actually selected, of course, 9 projects because the budget was as it was. 3 projects are actually so basically we managed to allocate it all available funds. When we talk about the achievements, these are the projects recently contracted, we might say. They just started with their implementation. The expected direct outcomes is a number of small and medium enterprises that will strengthen their capacities, also number of big enterprises, and some other numerical indicators that are mentioned in the slide. So we have more than 250. When we actually aggregate all the results together, we will have more than 250 small medium enterprises, and out of these 250, 170 small and medium enterprises are owned by women. Also, we have 60 big companies, and what is also very good and we are very proud of is that all selected projects have really good Norwegian partners. When we talk about the effects of this call, it is also very similar as mentioned previously. In general, they have the objective. The objective is strengthening of entrepreneurship in Croatia, and depending on that, which the selected project, there were some different measures or activities. So we had, as already mentioned, strengthening capacities of female entrepreneurship. We have, for example, projects for energy management in hospitality sector. In hotels, we have various kinds of mentorships, waste disposal, particularly after earthquake, because this is a very specific situation in Croatia. And of course, we have use of new technologies such as artificial intelligence, blockchain, quantum computing. So, and of course, in all of that, the strengthening of bilateral collaboration in innovative maritime technologies is, of course, of particular importance in Croatia. A few interesting facts about the program in general. So, the percentage of successfulness of applications was 34%, partly because the budget was limited. If we had the bigger budget, we would have, of course, the higher percentage. Then Croatian-Norwegian partnerships in approved projects were 29%, entrepreneurship 16%, and family businesses 30%. Just to give you the wider picture about the structure of the applicants for this program. Now, a few more words about the future, about the upcoming events that are organized or supported within bilateral funds. So next week in Oslo, we have Oslo Innovation Week. So this event is organized by the city of Oslo. I mean, but they will organize a networking event for 10 countries who participate in their programs. So we will have some 10 representatives who will be supported to travel there. They will participate in this networking event. Then we will also have two companies will be selected for pitching, so that they can actually propose their ideas and in such a way present themselves in a better way, and maybe get some new clients and similar. A little bit later, we have the conference that we intend to organize next year in Split. This is also like conceived as a networking event, and a number of enterprises, representatives from different countries will participate. They will be together at one place, but here they will talk about information in the industry, in the Green Deal area. We also plan bilateral conference that will focus on female entrepreneurship by the end of the year, and in the beginning of the next year we plan bilateral conference on challenges and potentials in aquaculture. So more about that we will publish on our web page. For any instructions or recommendations or requests, you have our email address at the bottom of the slide, so thank you for your attention. Thank you for all the details, Mr. Valadin and Ms. Ilic. And now we are actually short with time, so please keep within limits of 7 to 10 minutes. Now, two more also important topics. Branka Kaselj is with us, and she will talk about the achievements of the program for civil society. Thank you for the invitation. I hope I will be short. Although we have quite a number of achievements from this Active Citizenship Fund. We cannot present all of them, but the crucial ones. I'm really very glad to greet all our esteemed guests and representatives from the Ministry, from our donor program countries, and from Norwegian Embassy, our guests from the Office of Financial Mechanisms, and our colleagues from local, for national points that we collaborate, of course, much more often with. Maybe. So this year, this financial mechanism is realized in collaboration, in consortium of several local organizations from Croatia, and with a great support from the organization from Slovenia, who is very experienced in the previous programming period and the current. So jointly, I'm going to show to you some of the things that we actually managed to realize. All our projects contribute to one of the priority areas, which is democracy, human rights, social justice, equality, and not so much environment and climate changes, because we don't have that many organizations that actually operate in this area. But a joint kind of, I would say, a link for all of those priority areas. Basically, they are human rights, regardless of the area it appears. So you will see a little bit later about the key indicators realized. Our projects also contribute to specific national priorities, among which very important is strengthening capacities and the sustainability of civil society sector or the organizations in civil society sector, geographical distribution. We have very good indicators when it comes to geographical distribution, strengthening, empowering and social inclusion of vulnerable groups, and promotion of intercultural dialogue and intergenerational solidarity. All our projects have to contribute to some of our mandatory effects, and they all contribute to increase to growth of bilateral collaboration and to strengthening of regional cross-border collaboration with other countries who use financial mechanisms. Now I'm going to, yes, on the next slide here we have more data, but I'm not going to tire you with all those data. But here we have like crucial key indicators of the achievements of the entire Active Citizenship Fund, and I would say that we are quite pleased with the implementation, because implementation is in accordance with our desires. We contracted almost 100% of allocated funds, and until this day, we spent 75%. All our contracted projects are not realized, have not been realized yet. Some will be realized by the end of April next year, so there is still time. We had 7 calls on various topics. As I have said, they are mostly focused on 1 or 4 of our mandatory effects, but our calls for proposals were classified mostly towards, were targeted mostly towards smaller organizations and big partnership projects, so that all organizations that actually thought of applying and maybe were operating in some of the mentioned areas, that they actually might be given the opportunity to realize some of their activities. I would like to thank in particular and additionally to the fund that we received, which is 500,000 from Norway. And we managed, this is the additional funding, and by this we opened the 7th call for the organizational, support of organizational capacities. This is a very specific call for important for civil society organizations, and these funds were actually allocated to several. Basically, we use this new approach in financing of civil society organizations. Until this day, we contracted 156 projects. The 157th we will contract in a couple of days by this call that was actually intended for emergency situations, and it will be received by the organization Laverna that is in palliative care. We had a huge number of applicants. We had 911 applications, and we are very glad that about 30% of the overall number of grants was allocated to less developed areas of Croatia. And here we all those funds were actually allocated in 17 counties. Today we are at the Zadar County. We have not received a single application from Zadar County, so maybe in some of the future calls or a future period for financial mechanism, maybe this county can be a little bit more active. So we had until this day more than 9,000 direct beneficiaries of these projects, different categories of population: children, youth, addicts, women, family violence victims, asylum seekers, migrants, national minorities. It was quite a very diversified population, and who basically ended as a final and beneficiary of this grant. 245 civil society organizations was involved in the realization of all of these projects, but not to be disregarded is that all of them are implemented in very strong partnership that actually empowers the realization itself of all those projects. We are talking about a number of primary school, public institutions, faculties, universities, etc. When it comes to bilateral collaboration, we had very good results. We planned some 10 bilateral collaborations and partnerships, and we realized 45. As you can see, a little more from Norway, somewhat less from Iceland, but this is not actually we have 11 partners from Iceland and 35 from Norway, so the figures are not correct. We initiated the last call for supporting the bilateral initiatives. It's kind of like a build-up on the already projects who already had a bilateral partnership. Some of them started with, we have one Croatian organization that will present its achievements and kind of like talk about, exchange their good practices. So we will send this organization on a study visit to Norway that is to be realized soon. So a number of our projects was completed, but many more are still under implementation, so all those indicators will be considerably higher. Our table of with our achievements is quite bigger, as well as with all the others. It is difficult to present all that we have achieved. And not to be disregarded are the regional initiatives of civil society, because our organization were given the opportunity to collaborate and to exchange their knowledges and skills with the organizations from other countries who are beneficiaries of financial mechanisms. Very shortly, I would like to show you several of the projects contracted, because it is very difficult to show all of them. A little bit more, Ms. Katarina Turkovic-Buljih is going to present you more. She will be one of the panelists later. She will talk about a small but actually big project. Just to illustrate here, we had in the regional distribution, for example, to show you the targeted groups included the geographical distribution. We have like a organization that works with Roma minority in Slavonia. We have organization that works with LGBT population also in Slavonia, and these are maybe two counties with the more traditional values. So these kind of minorities, they need more support. When it comes to Roma Resource Center, it is very important for us that their activity was actually focused on Roma children of kindergarten age, but they also worked with their parents to encourage as early as possible entering of the Roma children into the system of education, and that these kids leave this education system as late as possible. Then we have two additional projects. One is again focused on Roma, but competences for media, content for media production. And the second one is focused on children, all the services that provide support to children in need of early intervention. This one was in Krapina-Zagorje County, the second one. And lastly, the project that is very important for the entire Croatia. Some of us, we have these family situations that encourage us when we see something like that, kind of project like this. We have a rehabilitation center for stress and trauma, and they conducted quite extensive research focused on social services provided in the entire territory of the Republic of Croatia, in particular to the so-called universal availability of social services. So the results of their research already received a lot of attention, not of the civil society organizations that are very often social service providers in the area of social care, but they're also decision makers. So this is all that I wanted to say. I hope it was short enough. Maybe my voice was a little shaky because I'm not a strong speaker, public speaker. Thank you very much.
I
would say that this is a strong voice and a great story. Thank you for emphasizing this valuable topic of the project in the direction of civil society. And for the very end, bilateral fund as a topic, Kristina Tatarovic, head of the service for international financial mechanisms. The floor is yours. Thank you. So I'm honored to present my service, which is a focal point in financial mechanisms Our service is a national point that monitors overall project activity of financial mechanisms. We monitor the achievements. We are at disposal of program managers, beneficiaries, for any questions they might have. We connect them with the donors who are also assisting us for successful implementation of a financial mechanism. We are also an organizer of this conference, and we love to organize such conferences because of the personal meetings of exchange of experience, meetings with colleagues from state administration, meetings with our beneficiaries who are working on the field and doing the projects and creating the projects. And when we see the achievements, the enthusiasm of people included in these programs and projects, this is actually what makes sense to our job. It's an encouragement for us to continue good work. My presentation as regards to bilateral fund for bilateral cooperation is it's a hybrid model of financing of initiatives where the representatives of financial mechanisms both from Norway and European Economic Area take part in. And to start the presentation, so as we like to start with numbers, the allocation of this bilateral fund is 2.7% of total allocation of financial mechanisms, 2.77 million euros. We had the opportunity today to hear a lot about bilateral cooperation at the level of program, at the level of project. And this is just one additional fund that aims to strengthen the bilateral cooperation or establish bilateral cooperation where it has not been established. Unlike the implementation of individual programs, we have more space for implementation of bilateral initiatives because our period refers to 2025. But the logics of this bilateral fund is in accordance with this period, the period of acceptability, because this fund monitors the whole period. You want to support if there is some bilateral idea which is important for our relations. If it appears in last years, it can be implemented. And as fund itself states, acceptable activities are any activities connected to strengthening and establishing bilateral relations, exchange of experiences, results of good practice, technologies, and so on. And the condition to take part in a bilateral initiative, unlike the projects within the program, is the existence of a bilateral partner. This allocation of bilateral fund is divided among project managers, program managers, with a greater allocation. This is 67% of allocation that is managed by jointly the Board for Bilateral Funds and a national focal point in the sense of in the sense of organization that monitors implementation. It's there for everyday operative questions and so on. So the core of everything here is that the decisions are made in consensus, in partnership with the representatives of donors. In the Board for Bilateral Fund, we have the representatives of all three donor countries. We have the representative of the Ministry of External Affairs and Ministry of Regional Development that is functioning as a national focal point. Maybe the the numbers are a bit less than you heard in the first part of the presentation, but it's not all about numbers. So the bilateral fund is also not about numbers. It's about people. And here we can see several photos of the persons who took part in certain bilateral initiatives. You are going to see here our firefighters, rescue service representatives. We also have the image with the interesting installation refers to, it's a result of bilateral initiative implemented by the university in Rijeka. The part referring to urban architecture and design, and that was real. And they had a great cooperation with Norwegian Study for Design and Architecture, and through their bilateral cooperation, they jointly worked with Norwegian company. This is a very famous company, international company dealing with architecture and inclusive design. So this image with different colors is a sensoric children's installation. It has been installed at the beginning of this year in the area of Rijeka campus, and local population can be introduced to the project. Our firefighters, our rescue service had the opportunity within these bilateral initiatives to exchange their experience with their Norwegian colleagues, firefighters in the field of being rescuers at traffic accidents, and the rescue service in the field of working among ruins and so on. So we have representatives from these two services that are going to join the panel, so we are going to be able to hear more information. We have 13 initiatives, bilateral initiatives. One initiative we are very proud of refers to improvement of Norwegian language at the University of Zagreb, Faculty of Philosophy, because we know the language is the thing that connects people. Within this initiative, the students at the Faculty of Philosophy in Zagreb are able to learn Norwegian from native speakers, and the teachers will be able to cooperate with colleagues, and they are going to, in that way, they are going to improve their competencies at the study, at their study programs. I believe that it is going to be a beneficial project for everyone included. And what we mentioned before, we also have 12 bilateral initiatives in the area of green transition. As we heard, this is a very important area of financing, at Croatia, as we know, has a great potential for such initiatives. As regards to these results, I'm going to inform you at some later phase of the project, because the beneficiaries have just started their second quarter. So these activities provide us with the new opportunities in advance to meet and to present and talk about our joint results. Once more, I would like to greet you on behalf of the Ministry of Regional Development. I would like to thank all our colleagues that we cooperate with on an everyday basis, and I wish you a lot of success in your future work.
Hvala vam puno na konciznosti i vremenu i pažnji i svemu ostalo. Ja ću zamoliti opet moju dragu asistente da mi pomogne oko stolica da budemo efektivni i brzi, kako bi mogli moji dragi gosti za sam kraj današnjeg druženja posjesti čuti još po koju rečenicu malo više o samim projektima na kojima su radili tako vrijedno svo ovo vrijeme. Hvala još jednom Kristini Tatarović, voditeljici službe u sektoru za EU programe, međunarodne financijske mehanizme, na vremenu i, kao što rekao, konciznosti. Ono što nam ostaje pred sam kraj, ne znam koliko ste mi gladni, kakav vam je fokus. Dobro se držite. Još uvijek. Vi koji ste online, vama je puno lakše, vi ste već sigurno ubacili nešto među zube, pa vam je jednostavnije zadržati fokus. Bez brige. Potrudit ćemo se biti efektni i brzi. Čuli ste i sami, svaki projekt je kompleksan za sebe, zaslužuje svoje vrijeme, ali teško je odvojiti cijeli dan za svaki od njih. Molit ću zato da nam se ovdje pridruže gospodin Mario Galić, koji nam dolazi sa samog juga. Jedan aplauz. Gospodin Aleksandar Major iz Istre. Gospođa Katarina Turković-Gulin iz udruge Sidro. Pročelnik HGSS-a gospodin Marko Rakovac. I profesorica Goranka Antunović ispred Filozofskog fakulteta. Evo, zamolit ću vas. Lijepo vas je vidjeti u ovako velikom broju. Nadam se da ste mi dobro i fresh. Ukoliko ima malo vodice, možete slobodno dodati i koju čašu vode. Zatrebat će im možda kroz narednih 20 minuta. Nastavljamo s tim predstavljanjem projekata koji zbilja ima puno. U ovom bloku su tu programi energije, klimatskih promjena, inovacija, istraživanja, obrazovanja i konkurentnosti, civilnog društva, bilateralnog fonda. Sugovornici će navesti neke od njih. Evo, krenimo najlogičnije je grad Dubrovnik nositelj je projekta u okviru kojeg se koristi energija mora, vrlo interesantan projekt. Ugradnja sustava dizalica topline s morskom vodom za potrebe gradskog bazena u Dubrovniku. Gospodine Galiću, recite nam nešto više o tom zanimljivom projektu, točnije, ako se ne varam, dva projekta su.
Evo, hvala lijepo na pitanju. Zahvalio bi se Ministarstvu regionalnog razvoja i fondova Europske unije na pozivu i prilici da ukratko prezentiramo naš projekt. Kao što smo spomenuli, grad Dubrovnik zajedno sa Dubrovačkom razvojnom agencijom DURA trenutno radi na provedbi projekta ugradnja sustava dizalica topline na morsku vodu. Dakle, ukupna vrijednost projekta je €1.400.000.
This is 1,400,000 euros, and out of this amount, 80% is co-financed from the program of climate changes, financial mechanism of European Economic Area. The scope is the reconstruction of a mechanic room at the city pool, together with public premises, with the goal that all technology of the boilers using the oil is substituted with a new system of heat pumps using seawater. The equipment that was was over 50 years old, and it dated back to the time when the pool was constructed in the 60s. It was basically high time to exchange it and to improve it, especially having in mind the climate changes. So the production of energy from the sea is an ideal opportunity to turn to renewable energy sources, to focus on seawater, considering our locations being at the coast in Dubrovnik. For the application of the project, we did research. We dug a hole 20 meters deep in order to get relevant data and in order to test the possibility of implementation of such technology, considering the geological components of the sea and other conditions. This proved to be positive, and we did the application and realization of the project. It's being implemented now, and works are being implemented. I wouldn't go into too many technical details of the implementation, but I have to emphasize few relevant activities. What is most important is the water intervention, so we can ensure continuous permanent source. We are doing the holes at 40 meters of depth, and two are going to be exploitation wells and two drainage wells in order to ensure quality access of water. As for other activities, we are reconstructing the mechanical room. Two heat pumps are introduced. Each of them is 5 tons in weight. And in machine room, we are doing the connections with other rooms, so it's accessible. But the project as such is very demanding. What is important in all of that is that with realization of this project, we are going to exchange the oil that was used, like completely abandon it. The consumption of oil at the annual level was 220 tons. This is extremely high number, and considering the energy prices, we also influence the energy aspect and the economical aspect, financial aspect. Apart from financial savings, we have a great impact on environment, considering that we are abandoning oil, CO2 emissions is decreased. The base is in the city center, and it's one of the greatest consumers of oil. And this is then with the change and transfer to heat pumps using seawater. We influence the environmental component. So apart from financial and environmental impact, the project also impacts local community, considering that this is the only city pool in the city of Dubrovnik, and it is used every day from 7 in the morning to 11 in the evening. It is used also by swimming clubs, by swimming schools, by water polo clubs. It is used by elementary and secondary schools, so it's very important for local community, and therefore this project is going to impact a great number of citizens. I wouldn't go into too many details, but at the very end, I hope that in 4 months, when the deadline to finalize the project is, that together with the colleagues in the ministry, that we are going to release this new system, this new technology of heat pumps, and that we are going to be a positive example of practice, and that we are going to encourage other regional authority units to use the technology and available grants. Thank you. It's great. So how you answered all my intended questions. Thank you. If there are any further, of course, questions, use the time during the lunch, and please do comment all these success stories. Istria County is also here with us today. We go to Istria, project holder, Dobra Energia, good energy, solar energy for energy transition. We have representative here with us. Can you tell us a bit about achievements and about the challenges as well? So present us a bit with this project.
Good day to all of you. I would like to thank on the possibility to present this project. The project itself is, we received €1,370,000. I don't know if it is a bigger or a smaller project, but for us it is one of the most significant. And we have the project leader. Istria County is the project leader. We have 10 partners. We have 2 Norwegian partners, and we collaborate with them excellently. And the project itself is focused on, I would kind of divide it into 2 segments. One segment is definitely our planned investment. So we have 22 power plants. Some of them were installed, some of them are in the process of installment. And another segment is also very important, and we can't just disregard it. This is the contact with the local community, with the citizens, with the installers, the people who actually work. This is not a segment that is very often represented, but through the implementation of this project and the research, the market research, we got the information that there are no people who can actually mount this solar power plant. So we decided to focus on them as well. And another segment in this transfer of knowledge part is the collaboration with the Norwegian partners. These partners are available to all of our national partners. They enable the city authorities, the citizens, even the people who actually work on installing these solar power plants. They could actually make it possible to see what are the latest technologies in the solar power plant technology. So we have quite a wide spectrum of transfer knowledges in this process. Let me go back to the power plants now. Here it is also important that out of 7 cities that we will install the solar panels on, we targeted the buildings. There are different buildings. We have kindergartens, we have schools, we have one city swimming pool also. The total sum of all the solar power plants installed is 1.1. It is quite a huge intervention, and I might say that all the partners were fantastic. It was a phenomenal collaboration, and all the partners made it possible that this project actually could be implemented. And we are really achieving very, very good results. So we are talking, you talked about the concrete numbers. I keep my fingers crossed. And we come to the youngest. I think that you would all agree that the future, the youngest are important for futures. Association Sidro, or Anchor in English, Ms. Turkovic-Gulin is with us. Why did you start this project that is financed as So first of all, thank you for your invitation. Thanks to the ministry, thanks to our for Active Citizenship Fund and all the donor countries, because without you, without all of you, without all of us, nothing would happen. We are an association that we have been working for 2 years, and we did something that was unimaginable. Let me go back to the beginnings, because when you mentioned that we talk about the youngest population, so equality and human rights are basic human values, and we focused as educators in kindergarten on this equality of education, on this equal right to availability of education. We realize that there are huge regional differences in Croatia, and they usually resolve because of budgetary differences because some cities are not poor. But then we started to advocate that each child can have equally available and equally good quality kindergarten, which we, it was this fact, we need to basically raise awareness to the fact where does the education actually start, not in primary school, in kindergarten, which was actually proven by European practice and by new scientific studies, because the children who received better kindergarten support, better kindergarten training, they thrive better in school later. So this is a continuation of our project, Law for Equality, that was financed from the same program, and we successfully implemented it. So we are quite a small civil society association. We appeared only here 2 years ago, and we managed to change legislation to change financing of the kinder, because we wanted to change financing. We wanted the kindergartens not to be financed from the cities but from the state budget. And as of the next year, the state will be included in financing. This is a huge result, but it is not only that. It really would take me a lot of time to explain all the segments. Just one detail, because I found information. 40,000 of citizens were mobilized as part of this project. What does this mean? We managed to achieve unimaginable. Our public campaign that has the objective of increasing level about the importance of kindergarten education, about the challenges that we encounter. And of course, what is challenges for our kids and challenges for us as educators. So at one moment during this project, we had more than 86,000 views only on one Facebook page. We are not interested to the media. We had an established excellent collaboration with Ministry of Science, with the Ombudsman. For the first time, we have 4 biggest trade unions, 4 professional organizations. We created an initiative. Currently, we are working on this Equality Act. We try to include the children with difficulties, with developmental difficulties, other difficulties, special needs, because these children of this kind, they are still at the margins of society. We are now currently, there has been a lot of employment of additional educators. We have really many results. We have also under preparation the bylaw on the assistance of these children with the special needs, but the national plan for development of educational strategy until 2027. So the section that relates to kindergarten education, the 80% of the content of this section is basically everything that we demanded, that we requested, that we proposed. So when is this going to be realized? I do not know that, but we are going to continue to pressurize them with all our other partner organizations. As Branka said, this is a small, big project, so to say, but we achieved great things. And what is of extreme importance, we started as people who came just as experts. We had no experience in advocacy, especially in this kind of activism, and not generally, I mean. And now through a number of trainings, educations, public consultations, we succeeded. This is an excellent job that you did, and it doesn't matter that you have been in existence only 2 years. I see that this was no obstacle or limitation to your work. Also, there were no limitations in one of the we all know what you do. You are Croatian Search and Rescue Service, a very valuable bilateral initiative realized as part of the bilateral fund. So what was your final and crucial objective? Exchange of experiences between Croatia and Norway in search among ruins. So what have you applied? What are your experiences? A good day to all of you. We all know that in 2020, we were in a situation that we haven't experienced in 40 years. We had earthquake in Croatia. This earthquake caused chaos, and we figured out that we should use our resources as a plug-in to other organizations, because this is not our primary activity. And the Norwegian partner was kind of like a natural partner to us, because they had experiences, especially in our mission in Turkey, in Iran, and this was a really praiseworthy initiative. I'd like to thank Christina and her team from National Focal Point, because without your support this would not be so simple. The conclusion of this entire story is that we had this bilateral project, 250,000 euros. We had 5 trainings in the duration of 7 days, one international congress, and we also worked on standardization of operative procedures. We also participated in international mission in Turkey recently, and it is not simple to come to a foreign country far away and to help. But you see what happens. In Morocco we had a recent earthquake. Our colleagues were in Turkey, and we need to point out in particular that our dogs, search and rescue dogs, they are really very, very good assistance, because this is the only way that you can save somebody under the ruins. We know that human life is actually precious, and we achieved a lot by this project, particularly when it comes to outfitting and continuation of our previous activities. Norwegian partner was really very interested, as we are, to kind of like establish a module of civil protection. They also expressed an interest, and I do hope that this project will continue to live as an update of this project, and we will empower ourselves additionally to participation in international missions, because we know that we are not the ones. We will have probably the collapse of the system, but other countries that we collaborate more with, they will come to help us, because when such a thing happens. So this is also the point of United Europe, to assist each other. This was a wonderful example, the first of such project for us, and thank you very much for everything. Thank you once again. This is a great initiative. You have photos and slides of what was going on in Turkey. I think this is a precious project. This project is invaluable, and we have come to the end. Another thing that has no price, education or knowledge that can actually limit us or empower us, and this was part of the we have Goranka Antunovic. So tell me, how did you improve or enhance the quality of Norwegian studies at the Faculty of Humanistic Sciences in Zagreb? Good day. First of all, I would like to greet all of you, and second, I think this is a very difficult position after the last one before lunch, so this is I need to be interesting. But first of all, I would like to say what I want to mention is that we kind of like set people who are going to be the catalysts in many other situations that can contribute to various situations, various sectors, and eventually in a sector even of Croatian search and rescue service. So our initiative, the primary circle, the first beneficiaries, of course, are students, our students, and the idea was to whatever our students learn and all their skills that they learn, their humanistic competencies that they acquire throughout their life, their skills and stuff. Now we need to add this kind of like a focused effort to increase competencies when it comes to Norway, Norwegian language, and all thanks to, of course, this financial mechanism, as you have said, support. You mentioned support and understanding for certain limitations. I'd like to thank for support and understanding for certain limitations in Croatia of our system. So our students would actually receive. I wanted to add, we are talking about Norwegian language, but also Norwegian culture as well, knowing Norwegian society, and we are talking about certain segments that actually make it possible to make a more complete integration and cohesion, because there are many things that already exist in English language, but communication in lingua franca is not the best solution. It is not the same. And we don't need the language as intermediator. So, for example, sometimes in difficult situations. And so this is what we will try to do, what we will try to establish, and our projects only started. We started to implement our project in January of this year. It will last until next year. We have a lot of activities. The biggest one is actually basically the engagement of the Norwegian lecturer, the Norwegian colleague, at the Faculty of Humanistic Sciences. So we managed to have something that we have wanted for a long time, but it was not possible. We were not given the opportunity. So for years we have been running in circles, because it is only natural for our Department of Scandinavic Studies. So currently we have very concrete indicators that there is a need for such a thing at the labor market. And I would also like to thank our Norwegian ambassador, because they identified that the profile of people who need the court interpreter for Norwegian language, this need did not exist. So when we talk about so this is one of the most wanted professions. I mean, so we didn't have such profile of people in the country. So this is the idea, is that actually we will manage to educate these people. We couldn't provide these lectures, because we didn't have people. We didn't have teaching staff, and you can't have it because you don't have funds. So this was like a vicious circle that we were running in for years. And so this will actually, this project will leave long-term consequences, definitely. And we also included involved a number of facilities on a permanent basis in Zagreb. So we will have some visits from the guest lecturers. And this is what they do. This is also useful for participating lecturers, and we have online lectures of other colleagues who provide us support, and also we have, and we do hope that we will have some other people who will help in employment, that we will have some other people who could help us at the department, maybe. So we expect that this project will make it possible for one student to a position at the University of Zagreb.
Apart from that, there is one activity that I would refer to in a more extensive manner. It refers to other competencies. So in order to translate, it's not enough just to know the language. On the other hand, we organize a public roundtable with the City of Zagreb representatives. And finally, some other meetings, not to go for too long. At the Faculty of Philosophy, so we are doing all the necessary networking at the faculty. I'm sure that we will have the opportunity to have broader topics and to advance in all these topics. I would have questions for all of you, at least half an hour, but I'm going to stop us all here because there is a lunch waiting for us. If you are interested in anything else, of course, you can please do network with them and please do ask them during the lunch break. There is a project website. Please do check it and see the information about projects. Thank you to everyone for sharing their wonderful stories. Thank you, among other things, to technical experts who supported us and to the staff of the hotel who enabled this great morning for us. There is lunch ahead. Of course, we won't forget even the translators. Thank you for you who were with us online. My name is Katarina Muscatello. Before leaving, just a moment. So, please, it's very important to have a memory of such important dates such as one. This one, I am going to ask you to join me on the floor to do a group photography. All of you that are using cars, parking is free. The ramp is going to be up. Don't worry, you are going to enjoy the lunch as well. And one more thing, a bit of practical teaching. If you are interested, on left side, in front of the hall, I believe you remember probation. Mr. Berkic is going to show, if you are interested. He has one small example, and he will show you. If I forgot something, please forgive me. I think that's all. Thank you for being today with us. Good luck, and until we meet again, thank you for these great stories. Thank you.